All right. Welcome back to Zilla Perspectives. I am your host, beatzillapdx official. And today, it's a video that another content creator here on YouTube and out here in the uh, independent media sphere has said or suggested that this video, every black man needs to listen to. Before we play the video, I will give you a hint. It has to deal with dating single mothers. Now, there's a lot of talk that ends up getting kind of put out there, but I don't think things are really realistically addressed. And oftentimes, like this one in particular content creator, their experience, some people may look at with a suspect perspective. But if they like it, we love it. So, it's to each his own. But I think there's some things to be analyzed with certain sentiments. I know they might work well for the individual who is saying it, but to say that all black men need to hear this message, I'm not so sure. But without further ado, let's hear the message.
Chopping up my homeboy today. He said, "How do you love a masculine, broken woman?" And I said, "That's easy, but it's hard for you." So you want the truth? He said, "Yeah." I said, "There's no such thing as a masculine woman or masculinity or none of that. It's called responsibility in my eyes."
No, masculinity actually exists. Femininity actually exists. If you have a masculine, broken woman, there is a lot of things going on there. Number one, you identified broken. So, number one, she needs to get therapy. She needs to deal with whatever trauma is there in her life, whether self-induced or brought on by some other means outside of her own doing. However, the theory coming from guys like this, women don't ever make mistakes. So everything that a woman experiences is a man's fault. So that's coming from this type of man who usually, obviously, is raised by single mothers.
I said, "When you were young, did you have a bowl of shoulda, coulda, wouldas?" He was like, "Nah, I never had that cereal." I said, "Okay. It's imaginary cereal. Shoulda, coulda, wouldas. I shoulda did this. I coulda did this. I woulda did this." The world don't run on that. World runs on currency.
Yes.
"Did you live in a cardboard box?" He said, "No." I said, "Did you go to school naked?" I said, "No." "But your mother struggled, right?" He said, "Yes, she did."
I guess that's an assumption that every young black man is a child of a single mother and doesn't know his father. His father was irresponsible and didn't take care of his kids. That is where this perspective comes from. And it's again, by all means, praise your mamas. If your mamas did all of that, then praise your mamas. There are women out here that aren't good mothers and don't deserve that level of praise, nor do they deserve any kind of level of sympathy, because some people, just like men and women, are psychopaths and sociopaths. And some of these people are just the problems themselves, whether they be men, whether they be women. This line of thinking, ladies, because I'm sure the man won't hear me because he's already made every excuse in his mind why this is not ridiculous simping. What this is the hand-pecked man. You're getting a close-up on his face, so he's probably maybe be on the heavy side, which to each his own, ladies. But if you want to know what type of dudes you might want that you can run, this would be it. A guy that thinks like this. Because what he's already getting into, see, the man asked him a real honest question. How do I love a masculine, broken woman? And instead of actually addressing what that man said, he took it upon himself to make a different argument altogether that has nothing to do with helping that man in that relationship with that woman. That woman has a particular issue, and shall we say, problem. So this man's response that just immediately starts off with, there's no such thing as masculinity. Not sure where he's going with that. That's that gender fluidity talk, and gender roles ain't this, gender roles ain't that. However, he doubles back. Well, did you ever have this? Did you ever have that? Partner, was your mother on state assistance? See, what he's doing, he's making a false equivalent to what he was actually asked. And this has everything he's going into right now has zero to do with what he was actually asked. The question is, how do I interact with this woman? And all this dude is going into is a bunch of soliloquy fluff talk. This has nothing to do with how you are actually going to real time interact with your masculine broken woman. But let's hear some more.
How ironic it is that you get older and you forget that women struggle. It's funny, huh?
Everybody struggles.
But you never knew, did you? He said, no. You kept the lights on, didn't you? Did you have a bunch of candles in your house? He said, no. I said, let me explain something to you. It's not masculinity, it's responsibility. Who else?
Bro, no. Let me explain something to you. You ain't explaining nothing, man. Because here's the point. You don't know if that woman was living off the state or ever worked. You're just talking about, was the lights on? Was you fed? Well, that could be Uncle Sam, and you're talking about its responsibility. To who? To her children? Or is it Uncle Sam's responsibility to her children? That, oh, well, you never got this, and you weren't ever baking bread, and your lights was on. So Section 8 takes care of that, and all these other vouchers will take care of that. We see that right now. So the thing that he's trying to make is, number one, he's not talking about a woman of independence, or that you're talking, this is single mother talk, and more kind of leaning into multiple children having mothers who are unwed. Now, what you could talk about is their decisions in the men they chose to be with and have kids with while not being married. However, women with these type of men make no mistakes ever. And every woman is naturally made perfect. So if any mistake or problem befalls a woman, it's always the man's fault. And there's going to be these men that talk like that. Namely, this particular content creator who's been in black spaces, who believes this is the message that black men need to hear.
Who else is going to do it? Most of these women out here, man, today, they get disappointed just like everybody else, man. But unfortunately, what they got to do is they got to raise them children. And while the world blames them for everything else, here comes you. So you want to learn how to love a broken woman, a woman that you think is masculine. I'll give you the keys. I'll give you the dope today. The first thing you do is...
No. See, he didn't say he thinks she's masculine. She gives off masculinity. So, see, one thing you just did, brother, is you said masculinity doesn't exist, and you believe it doesn't exist, but now here you are actually defining masculinity. Ladies, stop listening to these dudes. These dudes ain't deep. They ain't giving you real game. This ain't got nothing to do with the question he was asked. This is up here for spiel's sake, and this is simp food. So for the person that said that, man, every black man need to hear this. For what? What good are you getting out of this? That ignore everything that see, you say accountability and responsibility, but then that first starts with the woman who's having children out of wedlock. A man who is in the vicinity is not responsible for that woman and her children. You know who's responsible? The men that she had kids with. So to make that seem like that's some new dude's job, no. If you want to go do that, that's fine. But then to turn around and say, well, women have disappointments. Brother, women, especially, let me be clear, Black women are not at the forefront of the world's brunt of down talking. If that was the case, we would not have Sukihanas and Sexy Reds, or we wouldn't be celebrating Cardi B's and WAP, or we wouldn't be having and celebrating abortion anthems with Glorilla, or having shows with a bunch of side piece girlfriends and ex-wives calling them basketball wives. This culture isn't about, there's no men putting that out there. It's all women control. So then when he comes in with that type of the fictitious, the Black women is gonna dump them, stop it. They're not. And everybody gets disappointed, dude. Because there's bad people in the world, bad men and bad women. Ladies, don't fall for this nonsense. There's guys like this that will give you, and you'll be like, well, he's talking like this. Where's his male friends? Now, he's saying he had a conversation with another dude. Realistically, ain't no man asked him how to deal with no woman. Why would you ask a man with no woman how to deal with one? So first off, I call cap, because ain't nobody asked this guy anything about how to deal with a woman. I got close to 30 years. A lot of people around me who don't. Guess how many times I ever get asked? So you want to know if he got asked this question, it's because he's single, not because he's actually worked through anything or went through a long standing relationship. He's not your guy. That's the other thing with this content creator. You know, he's a late bloomer, late in life. You know, you got married late to the one he wanted back in the day that didn't want him. She married the one she wanted, had kids with that person. That fell apart. And she's lucky enough to stumble back up on this guy that was in the mind state like this to be ready to be got. He thinks he's winning. I guess maybe for all intents and purposes, he is. Because this person, definitely who he got with, she knew her worth. And now that his dollars were up to par where she wanted, then she could settle for him because she wasn't going to bring any kids in the world for this guy. Because she never wanted to in the beginning. But guess what? Now he gets to play proud stepdaddy. And it's this very guy that tells you every Black man needs to listen to this, because he has stepped in to the most notorious simp position that he can't see or admit to himself he's done. Now, even looking at his wedding photos, it's very evident, even the lack of confidence and, you know, the confidence in his wife, and she has it, but he still can't see for the life of himself how far he went off with that and pushing that. If you want to be married to the one that you wanted, fine. But what you are not is a relationship guru. You don't even understand the ins and outs of how. See, I got almost 30 years in, so I know what it looked like from the early day to, oh, wow, you available now? I know what it looked like. Oh, I know what it looked like, baby. So, you know, I'm sure I get it. I get it. Guys like this, they're like, man, I'm finally getting what I want. Yeah. And she gets a do-over on your dime. Yeah, I guess you won.
Don't be the next disappointment. Love on her, man. But the second.
Do you understand what you just said, bruh? Don't be her next disappointment. Partner, she is damaged goods bringing her trauma and children to you. And you're worried about if you're going to be the disappointment? Ladies, this dude can only feed you simps. And not that you probably, if you want a simp, fine. But what you're going to get, this is spineless simp. So you're going to wear the pants. Because what he's saying is, it's okay as a man to give your power up to the woman because of all of her trauma. So I guess he want to end up like my neighbor and have his woman screaming on him every day because she actually wants to be with someone else. I've seen this in my lifetime. And because I'm a musician, I was able to see it early when I was younger, before I was even in relationships, and watch how over time it plays out. I could say right now, like, there are people in my mother's age range that they were all part of a little crew back in the 70s and 80s. And even some of them people have remarried later in life. And it's like, oh, wow, I didn't realize y'all was together. And sometimes it just be like that. But I also seen, and we also know those opportunists that we grow up with. Some habits don't change. So as a woman who says, don't want to do this by myself, my kids is getting old. Look at Steve Harvey. He adopting kids that's old. What are you adopting kids? And tying his children's inheritance with this new woman's children. Now, these type of men will make every excuse in their minds because I got the money, so I'm a man. At that moment, you have officially led with your wallet and you did not lead with manhood, which in turn means you're dishonorable. That's why nobody looks at this particular content creator with any kind of credibility now, because regardless of how he sees it, everyone else can see the truth just as clear as watching a big ass movie screen. But let's listen to more bad info.
The thing you need to do is to make sure you take care of you physically, emotionally, and mentally. She should not have to be responsible for you. You're a man. Also, the third thing you need to do is to make sure that you acknowledge her brokenness. You understand. You love her through it. You be patient with her. And if you are a good man and you are a man of character, show it. Be completely.
Yeah, you know what I just said about having almost 30 years? Men of character already have wives. So unless they're widowers, they're not walking around here single, because they found their wives and they made wives out of these women. Now, let me be clear. Of course, divorce happens. But to be single at 50, you ain't winning. I'm going to say that. That's not a win. Now, some people, it might be what they prefer. But overall, generally speaking, hell no. That is not a win. So if you see one person doing that, it works for them. Don't think that'll be you. You have to let your own lane play out for yourself. Now, if what you desire is to have a mate, then you can't sit up here and pattern yourself after the person who says they're content without one. What this guy is talking about, though, is a bunch of outlandish, again, any woman out there with a problem, they'll take. There's zero responsibility for the woman to tighten up herself. Now, what he said, it's the man's job to acknowledge her brokenness. Okay, fellas, here, let me get this dummy off the screen real quick. Let me tell you something, fellas. Don't. That is the worst advice this idiot could actually tell you. Because the woman he's talking about has not already acknowledged her brokenness. You're witnessing her brokenness from knowing better, not because she told you. So if she's not telling you she's broken, and then you want to say, I acknowledge your brokenness, oh, your relationship might be over because she's going to flip. Why? Because she's already out of order, she's masculine, and she's broken. You know what that means? Can't tell her nothing. So what are you going to acknowledge to a person you can't tell nothing to? Family, listen to these jokers. These guys got a relationship yesterday that was lucky to pull one that finally said, you know what, I'll give you a shot. That ain't the people that you need to be going after and listening to, folks. I'm just saying. Listen to the men who women actually want.
Be different than what she's ever been used to. And the only way you can do this is to lead your life. Lead yours. She got a bunch of stuff on her plate. Make sure you're not on it either. That's how you love a broken woman. That's how you can help her. And if you see her going through something and struggling, instead of going back and forth with her, love her. Give her solutions. Use your love and your healing and your knowledge to help. If not, leave her alone, man. Don't be another disappointment. She's been through enough.
Ladies, I blame you for that. Y'all be going around here have to out y'all. Fellas, there is levels and departments of a woman's mind that you get filed in. This guy that just told you that he's the fervent or the perpetual friend zone. So I bet you he has a lot of single female friends that he ain't never been able to get close to. But he's the one they always call. Now, they don't date him. They actually date what they want. Now, eventually, after, she lives the life and makes the choices that she wanted, because, see, here's the thing we keep missing. And again, like this content creator said, this message I just played for you was what every black man need to hear. And ladies, you are doing men a disservice by telling them stuff like that. You're going to feed this guy the information of lay down on the railroad tracks for me anytime I need. You're not the one, dude. If that's what she's doing, you're talking about, okay, fellas, if the woman is masculine and the woman is broken and she actually really desires to be with you, guess what she's going to do? Oh, she's going to tighten it up. All of that. Because what did he just say? Oh, don't be going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Again, you started a back and forth when you said you were going to acknowledge her brokenness. Did you just tell that woman she was imperfect? Fellas, don't do that. Don't do that. I acknowledge your brokenness. If you're in a conversation like that with any lady, fellas, get a prenup because you're being snookered. And that's a business relationship. She ain't into you. If she's into you, all of that masculine thing, she's trying to clean that up. And she don't need no man to clean her up. What are we saying about women here? Women, you're just so downtrodden, Brian. If no one teaches you anything, you just won't know because a woman can't learn nothing on her own. She just making bad decisions and it's never her fault. Get out of here, man. There are women out here that don't make the same bad choices and bad decisions. Why would a man not choose that? You're literally telling men to choose a woman that absolutely can't bring him peace and wondering why they would avoid that? Are you out of your mind? What woman wants a dude full of turmoil? Nobody wants that. That's not an ideal partner. So again, how do you love a broken woman, a masculine broken woman? By telling her maybe now is not the time to date. And maybe now is the time for you to heal. Maybe being with me isn't what you need. Maybe being in a relationship isn't what you need right now. What you need is help. But see, what he's thinking of is now also coming in with his cape on to save all of her and her children. But you don't understand how she got there. You're just looking at woman in distress. That's a damsel. They got you, dude. Got you. That's Simp School 101. And to hear it from a dude's voice to actually bring you what a simp understands, that's why I had to come just like break this down with y'all today. And I've been looking at this one because when I first seen this content creator post this, I'm like, damn, man, this really ain't it. Why do you think this is what black men, this is not the message black men need? Black men and black women, you want to come into a relationship and be together, then get yourself together before you involve your trauma on and force that into somebody else's life. Because this other person, what this dude is saying is, if you are productive, go get an albatross and put it across your neck and cast yourself into the sea. Don't do that, fellas. Again, if she's masculine and she's broken, she's not fit for a relationship. If you're feminine and you're broken, you're not fit for a relationship. Chances are you might not ever be fit for one with a woman in that regard. But ladies, all of that, when you hear those dudes say that, you know better. And I understand y'all will let dudes like that believe that because you've already put them in the department. Y'all, that's what I'm trying to tell y'all, fellas. If you think that that's the logic, everybody in that group that agrees with that have all been played or currently being played or being used for that woman because you're not the one she wanted. You know how you're not the one she wanted? Because what she's presenting to you is masculine and broken. She's not putting on her best face for you. She's not giving you her best energy. To tell a man to take that is to tell a man to end his career tomorrow. You want success? Flush it all down the toilet with a person to whom will require all of your positive going forward energy just to get through the day. Don't listen to these people, ladies and gentlemen. That being said, let me know what you think. Am I tripping? Do I have it wrong? I don't think so. But let me know what you think. Maybe I do get it wrong. And maybe you should not be her next disappointment. I guess my biggest advice would not being her next biggest disappointment, Don't get her pregnant. So you fall into the realm of all of those other bad decisions with the past children's fathers that she's had. Because these guys talking about disappointment, like these women didn't have, like they were just used. No, they were participants. And if it didn't work out, that's on both people. So she was disappointed. Her mate was disappointed. She did it again. That mate's disappointed. It's actually a common theme. The random men, see, because there's these men out here that say, man, it's silly to say that a man shouldn't be wanting to take care of another man's kids. Shout out to all the willful stepdads. But that is not a philosophy that anybody needs to be pushing on anyone. If you had, a matter of fact, most women will tell their sons, don't mess with women with kids. So if your mother really gave a crap, she would have gave you that game. Don't bring no woman home with no kids. Don't bring her over here. You want kids of your own one day. What you gonna do with an already made family? See, that's what the women in my family used to say. But I mean, of course, you know, I come from a family that of pretty women that knew that they offspring males was, we ain't in that department that y'all in, fellas. That's all I can say. A woman come and give you no positive energy, no feminine energy, and you're asking another man, how do I get her? How do I love this masculine, broken woman? You don't, fella, because she don't love you. And if you're trying over there, that's just a big butt and a sometimes smile. Most of the time, arguing. Pass. Go get you somebody who actually want to mess with you. Because masculine and broken mean you're fussing and fighting all the time. The only thing you could do to not be going back and forth with her is take all of her abuse. If you got anything going on in your life, listen to me good. Don't do it. But again, like I said, let me know if I'm wrong. Come up in the comments. Let me know. In the meantime, what you can do is you can like this video, you can share this video out, and you can subscribe to the Zilla Perspectives channel. Hit that notification bell, hit the word all. That way you'll be notified anytime a video is uploaded or premieres on this channel. And before too long, we got to get these numbers up, but we might be going live here a time or two as well. And so, of course, you know the main channel is beatzillapdx official. All the other information will be in the description, of course. Whew. I think we missed it on this one. I think they missed the boat. And so, like I said, I'm not going to make this about the other content creator that told you that made a post and said everybody needed to listen to this message. I firmly disagree. And if anybody knows who I'm talking about, do not take dating advice or marital advice from that fellow, because he does not know what the hell he's talking about, and he is a bad advice giver when it comes down to that. So, till next time.